Howdy, church. Man, I am so ready for today's message because here's the thing. Somebody came to me between services and said, so how did this series come about? Because your third service, I got a little more time. You don't have a group that's going to be waiting out there, but I'm not going to keep you long. But I wanted to share with you guys that when life hits you, squeezes you, or you don't know what to do or what direction to go, you can get overwhelmed. You can feel like, I don't know what to do, and you feel like you're at the end of your rope. And that's kind of where this series was birthed out of months ago, of writing down what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what I was going through, because I knew that if I'm going through it, other people have to be going through it too, right? Because the enemy's number one job is to try to convince you and I that we're the only ones, that we're alone, that nobody else is going to understand, that nobody else is going to want to go through this with you, or nobody's going to feel like that they can relate to you. And so therefore, the series Overwhelmed was birthed, because we all go through tough times. Things can catch us off guard. We feel overwhelmed. And the thing is, what we do is we cope. We get by. We survive. And what I want to do is I want to encourage you today to listen to this message. Take some good notes. Know that God is with you, that He hears you, and He sees where you're at, and that He doesn't want you to walk out of here and say, I'm going to survive for 6 more days. I'm going to make it. I'm going to be here next Sunday, and I'm going to get through this next week. God doesn't want you to get through this next week. He wants you to thrive in this week and impact the lives of those around you. But if the enemy can get you overwhelmed and shut you down and get you to close off and wall yourself off from other people and wallow in what you're going through, then he can make you ineffective and will never reach the world, because he wants to keep you overwhelmed. Last week, I was what Jen said, raw and real. Talked about a subject that we don't talk about in church very often. And if you've got friends and family that have gone through or struggled with depression, I encourage you to go back and listen to last week's message. Because the enemy wants to do everything he can to steal and rob the joy and the hope of our salvation from us and make us feel overwhelmed. Because it was a tough one, and I got a lot of great messages. In 35 years of ministry, I got more positive responses of last week's message than any message I've ever done. And so I appreciate the encouragement, but I want us to work through these things together and impact the kingdom of God for the positive, and our lives to begin to minister to those around us. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start out with Daniel chapter 3 today, but I want to talk to you about one of our favorite subjects, stress. How many of you hate to be stressed? I hate being stressed. How many of you right now are stressed right now? There's something in your life going on that's stressing you, all right? Well, then you picked a great day to come to church, because here's the thing. I hate stress. I don't like feeling stress, and I know that when that begins to happen in my life, it's because of things that I wasn't prepared for. Things that I didn't plan on, because when things go the way that you plan, you don't get stressed, right? But it's when things that aren't on your calendar, that you didn't have in your notebook, that things that you weren't ready for, that's when life throws you a curveball. It throws everything off whack, and then all of a sudden you feel overwhelmed because you're not prepared for them. It's kind of like when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed about my grades if you're in school. And you walk in and you're like, my grades, I need to get them up. And you sit down and the teacher goes, pop quiz. And you're like, oh, great. Or you're stressed about your finances and you're like, oh, it's only like the middle of the month and I'm already stressed about my finances. I don't know how I'm going to make it to the end of the month. And then your car breaks down. Or your air conditioner goes out at home and you're like, I can't take much more of this. And you get stressed. I'll never forget one time I was about to leave work. It was like 4:50 in the afternoon. First job as a youth pastor, and my pastor sends me an email and says, I need to see you in my office in the morning at 9 a.m. sharp. No other information. Nothing. How many of you know I didn't sleep that night? It's like, what did I do? I don't know that I did anything. I didn't do anything. Do you know of anything that I did? And I was so worried. And I got there the next morning. He goes, hey, I had a question for you. And I was like, don't ever do that to me again. I didn't sleep all night. He goes, it was not that big a deal. And I said, you didn't make it sound like it wasn't a big deal in the email. Or somebody sends you that text and says, we need to talk. Don't you just love those? No, boy, I need you to give me some information. What do you need to talk to me about? Because you're giving me ulcers. Because those kind of things make your stomach knot up and you get all stressed out. And see, here's the thing is I'd love to sit here today and tell you that this message is going to eliminate all stress from your life. But it'd be a very short sermon, because you know why? The only way for you to eliminate stress in your life? Die. I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to die, because here's the thing. This life is always going to make sure that the enemy's going to always make sure that he throws you curveballs, that he gets you stressed out so that you do experience stress and you don't experience peace. You say, well, Pastor, I'm not currently stressed. Well, go home, watch the news for 20 minutes, and then come back and listen to this message again, all right? And then it'll mean a whole lot more to you. But I seem to remember growing up with a lot less stress in my life. Not because I was young, not because I was naive, but I grew up with a lot less stress. And why do I think that we grew up with a lot less stress in years gone by? And it's because we didn't have 24-hour news channels that kept us up to date on the whole globe. We didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet. We're at our fingertips. We can know anything we want to know at any given moment. And I don't know about you, but have you ever felt like you were just a little too connected? Anybody? Where you just need to unplug and you're just like, I know that, but I don't want to know that. I don't want to know all the bad stuff that's going on in the world. I don't want to have the 411 every single day of everything bad that's going on in the globe, because it will make you panic and it will make you stress. This morning I could spend all of my time trying to tell you how to get out of that doom and gloom cycle that the world tries to drag us into. But I can't do that. You know why? Because that's a cultural reality of the world we live in. The social media, the news, they feed us that. We feed off of those bad things, because I think sometimes, maybe you don't always feel this way, but sometimes I think it's this innate something in our being that makes us like, at least my life's not as bad as theirs. That they show you all the bad stuff in the world that's going on, it makes you feel a little bit better about your life. And why do I know that's the case? Because I love watching videos of other people that do stupid stuff and get hurt, and I laugh. You know, like somebody goes boom and slams into a wall and I'm dying laughing over here. Or they fall down the steps. Is anybody with me? I know that's warped. I know that that is not right. But I laugh and I find joy sometimes in watching someone else's pain that's worse than my own. And you can sit here going, boy, this is a sadistic pastor. I'm not, I promise. They posted it. I just watched it. But I can't help you navigate the cultural reality that our world is a negative world. But what I can do, because I can't change the world, I can't get everybody in the world to listen to this message today, but what I can do, you're here, those of you online are watching, I can help you walk back out into this world and navigate a world that's that way. We can start to impact culture, we can start to change. What if we walk out and we're changed to what is going on out there, that we react differently to the culture of the world, and we impact it versus it impacting us. So before we dig into Daniel chapter 3 and my favorite character, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I want to lay a little bit of a foundation for our message today, because if you don't get this, none of the other stuff is going to tie together. It's not going to work. So here's some things you need to know. Get your notes out, follow along. Number one, we have to trust that God is good and holy. We have to trust that God is good and holy. Now, I know the first week I told you, well, God is able and God is great. And you're like, Pastor, you said great is better than good. It is. But when I say that God is good, I'm talking about His character and I'm talking about His nature, because He is a good and He is a kind God. And God's nature never changes. Your circumstances can. And when your circumstances aren't going the way that you want them to, what do? You start to question God's goodness, and you start to question His faithfulness. And so the thing is, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you to the point and the place that no matter what's happening around you, that you get that one foundational truth in your spirit and under your feet, that no matter what is going on around me, no matter what the enemy's trying to get us to see, no matter what's happening right now in the world, God is always holy and God is always good. Because what does holy mean? Well, I put it in your notes. Holy means perfect in every way. Pure, completely good all the time. That's our God. He's never made a mistake. He's never failed. He's never had to apologize for anything. Why? Because that's who He is. He's perfect. He's holy. I mean, have you ever thought, is there anything that God can't do? And what's the good Christian answer? No, there's nothing impossible for God. There's nothing He can't do, but that's false. There is something that God can't do. He can't not be holy. He can't not be pure. He can't not be good, because that's His character. It's His nature. He can't go against His character and His nature. So you and I have got to grasp that. So here's the thing. When that happens, we ask, but if He's good and if He's holy, then why did He let this happen? And maybe you've asked the same thing, because maybe you prayed for a marriage to come together and it ended in divorce. Or maybe you prayed for a family member to be healed and they actually died from the sickness. And you say, if He's good, Pastor, I mean, I'm hearing what you're selling today. That God is good and that God is holy. But if God is good and God is holy, then why did He let this bad thing happen to me? And here's what I want you to hear. If we step back from that reality for a moment and we give an honest answer as to why that thing, God allowed it to happen in our life, I think the reason that we question is because God didn't do what we wanted Him to do. See, when God does what we want Him to do, we don't question God. We don't question His goodness. We don't question His holiness. It's when God doesn't do what we want Him to do that we begin to feel like there's a wrench thrown in the system and we get all bent out of shape, because the focus becomes on me. what I want God to do. And when God does what I want to do, God is good and God is holy. But when he doesn't do what I want to do, when he doesn't heal that person, when he doesn't heal that marriage, when he doesn't do the things that I want to, when I want him to go against a person's free will, when I want him to bend things my way, I get upset and I feel like then he's not a good God. But he is always a good God. But anybody can say God is good when everything's going their way. God is good and holy, though, no matter what's going on in your life. And when you're stressed, you've got to remember that the devil wants to make you feel overwhelmed. He wants to